Anthropic just leapfrogged OpenAI, not on benchmarks, on valuation. $965 billion.
Microsoft held its biggest developer conference of the year, and the headline wasn't a product, it was a declaration. Windows is now an AI agent platform.
And Congress dropped a 269-page AI bill that could override every state law in America overnight.
This is AI Made Practical, the show that takes the 5 most consequential AI stories of the week and tells you what they mean for how you work and compete.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm John. Let's get into it. Generative AI first, and Jessie, we have to start with Anthropic, because the numbers this week are genuinely staggering.
They really are. So Anthropic did two things simultaneously this week. They released Claude Opus 4.8, their most capable model yet. And as part of the funding round that accompanied it, they crossed a $965 billion valuation. That puts Anthropic ahead of OpenAI as the most valuable AI startup in the world.
Let's sit with that for a second. Anthropic, a company that is not yet 3 years old, is now worth nearly $1 trillion. For comparison, Ford Motor Company, which has been building cars for over 120 years, is worth about $45 billion. We are living through a capital reallocation event unlike anything in modern economic history.
And what makes this week's milestone meaningful is it's not just valuation hype. It's tied to real model performance. Claude Opus 4.8 set a new bar for enterprise AI. It processes tasks 2.5 times faster than Opus 4.7, costs 1/3 less, and is 4 times less likely to miss code flaws.
The benchmark that really got my attention is the computer use score, 84% on online Mind2Web, which tests whether a model can actually navigate real websites and complete real tasks autonomously. That's a meaningful jump over both Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5. When a model can reliably operate a browser, you are talking about a fundamentally different class of capability.
Right. And the enterprise implication is direct. If your AI agent can do research, fill forms, navigate SaaS tools, and hand back results without human babysitting, the labor savings aren't incremental. They're structural.
There's also something Anthropic called dynamic workflows this week, which I think flew under the radar. It's the ability for Claude to automatically generate orchestration scripts and deploy specialized subagents to handle different parts of a complex task. So instead of one AI doing everything sequentially, you get a coordinated team of AI agents working in parallel under Claude's direction.
Which is basically how a well-run human team works. You have a project manager who breaks down the work, assigns it to specialists, and synthesizes the output. Claude is now playing the project manager role, and the specialists are other AI models.
The Databricks integration is a great example. In Genie, the AI agent for data and knowledge work, Opus 4.8 unlocks a step change in agentic reasoning. A data team can now describe what they want to know, and the agent plans, executes, and returns analysis. The data analyst's job is rapidly shifting from doing the analysis to reviewing and directing it.
Which is a profound shift in what skills matter. Okay, story 2, and this one is adjacent to Anthropic's story because it's about the competition. Microsoft Build 2026 wrapped this week, and the centerpiece was something called Project Polaris.
Project Polaris. Satya Nadella announced that Microsoft has built its own homegrown AI coding model, and it will replace GPT-4 Turbo as the default model for all GitHub Copilot subscribers starting August 2026. This is a very significant move.
Why significant? Because Microsoft has been the biggest backer of OpenAI. Multi-billion-dollar investment, deep integration across every product. And now they're building their own model to compete at the capability layer. That relationship is getting complicated.
It signals something important about where the industry is headed. The hyperscalers, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, all started by buying or partnering their way to frontier AI capability. They are all now investing heavily in building their own. Because if you depend entirely on a third party model, you don't control your own destiny.
And Copilot subscribers, many of them in enterprise, are going to experience a model change in August without necessarily being asked about it. That's worth watching. When you swap the core reasoning engine inside a workflow tool, the outputs change. Sometimes subtly, sometimes not.
Worth keeping an eye on as that transition unfolds.
Agentic AI and John Microsoft Build gave us a lot here too. The story isn't just Project Polaris. The bigger story is what Microsoft is doing with agents across the entire platform.
Absolutely. So Microsoft introduced a new category of agent they're calling Autopilots. And the first one is Microsoft Scout. Scout is an always on agent with its own identity that monitors your inbox and your team sessions, identifies things that need your attention, and surfaces them to you without being asked.
Which is a meaningful design shift. Most AI tools we use today are reactive. You prompt it, it responds. Scout represents a proactive model. The AI is running in the background, watching, deciding what's worth your attention, and interrupting you only when it's found something real.
And the infrastructure they built to support this is fascinating. Microsoft announced something called Work IQ, a workplace intelligence layer for agents that captures how work actually happens across Microsoft 365. It ingests emails, meetings, documents, organizational structures, and uses that to ground agents in real enterprise context. The Work IQ APIs go generally available on June 16th.
The parallel to what Google announced with background search agents last week is striking. Both companies are converging on the same architectural vision: AI that runs continuously, accumulates context, and acts on your behalf. The difference is Google is doing it at the search and information layer. Microsoft is doing it at the work and productivity layer.
And together, those two layers cover most of what knowledge workers actually do: search for information, manage communications, coordinate tasks. If agents are running across both layers simultaneously, the nature of the knowledge workday changes fundamentally.
The GitHub Copilot desktop app announcement is also worth highlighting because it goes well beyond what we've had before. 3 modes: interactive, plan, and autopilot. Autopilot mode lets the agent take multi step coding actions, writing, testing, and iterating, while you go do something else.
And there's a feature called Agent Merge, which means the agent can handle the Git workflow too. It doesn't just write the code, it commits it, manages branches, handles conflicts. The developer reviews and approves, but the mechanical work of the development loop is increasingly automated.
For engineering leaders, the implication is real. The ratio of output to developer headcount is going to shift. Teams that lean into this tooling will produce more. The question is whether organizations reinvest that productivity gain in shipping more product, or just let the headcount cost reduction fall to the bottom line.
Story 4, and this one is different because it's about hardware, not software. NVIDIA's RTX Spark.
Jensen Huang at Computex. The declaration was bold. We are going to reinvent the PC. RTX Spark is an ARM-based superchip that integrates AI agents, content creation, and gaming on a single portable device. Not a server, not a data center, a chip you can hold in your hand.
What's the enterprise angle on this?
The enterprise angle is sovereign AI and on-device inference. Right now, most enterprise AI workflows send data to cloud models. That raises compliance, latency, and cost questions. If RTX Spark can run frontier-class agent workloads locally, on a device that sits on your desk or in your laptop, you get AI that doesn't leave the building. For regulated industries, finance, healthcare, legal, government, that's a meaningful unlock.
And the performance economics change too. Cloud inference at scale gets expensive fast. Local inference has a hardware acquisition cost, but zero per token ongoing cost. For high volume, repetitive agent workloads, the math could look very different in 2 years.
NVIDIA also announced Cosmos 3 this week, world models and modular agent skills for physical AI. It's aimed at robotics, autonomous vehicles, industrial simulation. That's the frontier that most enterprise technology teams aren't thinking about yet, but it's coming. The same agent architecture that runs in software today will run in physical systems within years, not decades.
Okay, shall we close out with the regulatory story? Because this one affects every company, not just the tech giants.
Let's go.
Analytical AI. And this week, the story is governance, regulation, and what it means for how companies build and deploy AI systems. Jessie, set it up.
Okay, Two things happened this week that collectively represent the biggest regulatory moment for AI since the EU AI Act originally passed. First, Congress dropped a 269-page AI bill that would override state AI laws across America. All of them. Overnight. Second, the EU AI Act Omnibus hit a key milestone with synthetic media transparency requirements accelerated to December 2nd, 2026. US companies producing AI-generated images, voice or video for European audiences have until then to comply with C2PA watermarking standards.
Let's take those separately. The US federal bill first. The headline is Preemption. The idea that a single federal standard would supersede the dozens of state AI laws that have been passed or are in progress. California, Texas, Illinois, they all have their own frameworks. Companies building and deploying AI have been navigating a patchwork. Federal preemption would simplify compliance, but the question is simplify to what standard?
And that's the debate. If the federal standard is weaker than what states like California have passed, preemption is a regulatory rollback dressed up as simplification. If it's stronger, it's a genuine raising of the floor. The content of those 269 pages matters enormously, and the lobbying fight over what ends up in the final version will be intense.
The other AI governance story that didn't get as much attention but should. Prompt injection attacks were officially classified as a CVE category this year, and by mid 2026, the number of CVEs linked to AI generated code had increased nearly sixfold compared to 2025.
Sixfold. That number needs to stop every engineering leader in their tracks. Because what it's saying is, as AI generated code has proliferated, the surface area for security vulnerabilities has exploded. Code review processes designed for human written code are not catching what AI models are introducing.
This connects directly to the analytical AI story we've been building for weeks. If you're deploying AI in your development workflow, you need the analytical layer, the security scanning, the code analysis, the vulnerability detection to keep pace. You can't just accelerate the output side without investing equally in the quality and safety verification side.
There's also a data angle here. A lot of the vulnerabilities in AI generated code trace back to models trained on code that itself had security flaws. The model learned patterns from imperfect examples and reproduced those patterns at scale, which is why data quality, the theme from last week, is not just a business intelligence problem. It's a security problem.
What's the practical action for a technology leader listening to this right now?
Three things. 1. Get someone in your legal and compliance team reading that federal AI bill today, because the preemption provisions could materially change your compliance roadmap, and you do not want to be caught flat-footed. 2. If you're producing AI-generated content for any European audience, December 2nd is your deadline for C2PA watermarking compliance. That is not far away. 3. Do a specific audit of your AI-assisted code development workflow. What is the security review process for AI-generated code? If the answer is the same process as for human-generated code, that is not enough.
I'd add a fourth. Treat prompt injection as an infrastructure problem, not a model problem. The classification of prompt injection as a CVE category means it's now a class of vulnerability that needs to be systematically addressed in how your AI systems are architected, input validation, output sandboxing, privileged action controls. The same discipline you apply to SQL injection, you now need to apply to prompt injection.
Exactly. The security principles aren't new. The attack surface is.
Okay, 5 stories, a big week. Let's tie it together. Jessie, what's your theme of the week?
Mine is the platform arms race going vertical. What I mean by that is, every major platform is now racing to own the full stack from model to agent to interface to hardware. Anthropic climbs to nearly $1 trillion in valuation with a model that runs coordinated, multi-agent workflows. Microsoft swaps out OpenAI's model with its own and builds always-on agents into Windows itself. NVIDIA declares the PC reinvented with local AI agents built into silicon. These moves are not incremental. They are each company claiming a different layer of the AI stack and making it hard for anyone else to displace them. The platform wars are being fought simultaneously at every level.
I love that framing. My theme is accountability meets acceleration. We have AI capability advancing at a speed that is genuinely hard to track. Anthropic crosses a trillion. Microsoft pivots its entire developer platform in 1 week. And at the same time, regulation is finally catching up with real teeth. A federal AI bill, an EU watermarking deadline, prompt injection classified as a security vulnerability class. For years, the narrative was AI is advancing faster than regulation can keep up. This week suggests the gap is closing, and companies that build their AI strategies without regulatory considerations built on sand.
Accountability meets acceleration. That is the operating environment for every AI leader right now. You have to move fast and be accountable at the same time. And the companies that figure out how to do both, those are the ones that will still be standing when the dust settles.
That's the game. Alright, that is a wrap on episode 2 of AI Made Practical. And what a week to be in this space.
Seriously. Valuations, model wars, agent platforms, hardware reinvention, and a 269-page bill that could reshape the entire regulatory landscape. If you're feeling like it's hard to keep up, that's because it is. That's exactly why we're here.
If this was useful, subscribe. New episode every week, 5 stories, the analysis you actually need, and share it with someone in your network who's trying to make sense of all this. Word of mouth is how great podcasts find their people.
And if you've got a story you think we should cover or a question you want us to dig into, reach out. We read everything.
We'll be back next week. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and keep making AI practical.
See you then.